Hey Scorpio, I'm Chris. Welcome to your October reading and welcome to the House of Light and Shadow. Now guys, as I was coming to this reading, I was kind of just getting a couple downloads, and what I really feel like right now, Scorpio, there's a real sexy energy with you guys right now. There's a sort of assertiveness that I'm feeling where you're exerting leadership in your personal life, at your job, in your relationship amongst friends. There's a sort of also boundary setting. There's a sort of like control over the emotions now where we're not like lashing out, but we're kind of making demands of people, and we're sort of telling people what's okay and what's not. We're sort of establishing a boundary for ourselves with others. Scorpio, it feels, the reason I say sexy is because it's like we're coming into a real strong place of being like self-possessed. Not having to be angry because you feel powerful, not having to lash out because you have a sort of control over yourself, over your environment. There's a sort of lightness too, Scorpio, that I think is coming with all this. There might be some loneliness, there might be some quiet time, but in that time you get clarity. And with the lightness and clarity that you're getting, I feel like a lot of focus on the future. I feel like we're able now to have a good sense, Scorpio, of what we want and where we're going. We're connecting very deeply to that right now. Now, I want to talk about looking to the future, Scorpio. We have Two of Wands, also particularly about control. The Two of Wands is traditionally known as the Lord of Dominion. It's a card where you're exerting power over your environment. You're exerting power over the people around you. And not in a way that's super controlling, but in a way that is controlled. Where we have a sense of what you need and what you want, and you're very able to easily express that. You're able to tell people what you need. You're able to tell people what you expect of them. And you're also able to tell people what they shouldn't expect from you. There's a very high energy feeling here with the Two of Wands. There's a very strong sense of vision, of creativity, of putting ambition and willpower and focus into motion. The Two of Wands is sort of asking you right now, Scorpio, to take control over who you are and who you're going to be. To really think about the way that you want to be perceived. To really think about the way you want other people to see you. Sometimes being angry and being forceful feels good, it feels strong, it feels powerful. But ultimately, we want people to feel like we're someone that they can get along with. We want people to feel like we're inviting to them. We want people to feel like they want to invite us into their lives, into their circles, into their environments. There's a spirit here, Scorpio, of cooperation with the Two of Wands. There's a spirit here of you do your part, I'm going to do my part, and we'll meet in the middle and see what greatness we can create. And that's where I feel the leadership. That's where I feel a sense of being so composed that you can like influence people and you can influence your environment. You can influence your workplace. In our ideal, Scorpio, we have the Six of Wands. Focus, winning, ambition. Guys, this is what I meant when I said, how are people seeing you? It doesn't just have to be like that people think you're nice. But with the Six of Wands, we are conscious of how we are received. We are conscious, we are aware. As much as we think of this card as a card of victory and celebration, it's also a card where people are looking at you. And people are seeing what you're about. And right now, especially in the midst of Libra season, where we get to sort of refine and polish and control our image. You know, everybody has an image whether you put effort into it or not. Everybody has a reputation. Everybody has a way that people perceive them. Why I'm saying this, Scorpio, is that now it's time to take control over how people are seeing you. It's time to take control over what people think of you, about what you're projecting out into the world. And Scorpio, it's almost like this sly thing I'm feeling, because when I look at this, it's almost like between you and us, Scorpio, it's sort of like you can, let's say, play people right now. Let's not put it in a negative way. Let's say you can get what you want from people. If you're smart about it. if you approach things right, if you approach people and situations thoughtfully, if you approach people and situations as in how do I get what I want from this person, from this situation, and you can turn on that charm and get people to give you the things that you want without having to force it out of them, without having to take it. There's a difference between demanding respect and commanding it. If you demand it, you're telling people, like me, respect me. If you're commanding it, it's about who you are and and the energy you're putting out there and how other people are going to react to it. We can't always control what people think about us, Scorpio, but right now you're in a position to use how you come across to get the things that you want. So, Scorpio, so much wand energy. So right now we have the 2 of Wands, the 3 of Wands, and the 6 of Wands. So talk about fire, talk about ambition, talk about forward movement, talk about authority, like an internal authority. I told you guys this was going to be a sexy reading. So in our past, Scorpio, we have the full moon, we have the 3 of Wands, and we have the Queen of Swords. So what is this telling us, Scorpio? The Queen of Swords has a sort of hard. The Queen of Wands has a firm but gentle approach. She has that sword and she will cut you with it. But look at the way she's also kind of like holding her hand out to that butterfly. Very gently, very delicately. It's about adopting that soft touch, Scorpio, that firm but gentle touch. Because exactly what I said in the beginning, Scorpio, with the 3 of Wands, we're looking to the future and we're creating a vision. Because you know, with the full moon, it's like you've accomplished something. This is what I mean by the lightness that you guys felt. It's almost as if you moved into a place where there's a little less worry in some regards. Maybe that's with your finances or with regards to your career, but the full moon here makes me feel as if there's just something that's done. Something that's reached its fulfillment and now like you can move forward. Reaching its fulfillment and moving forward. And Scorpio, you have to be the Queen of Swords right now. Embodying this energy of I'm going to speak truthfully, I'm going to speak honestly. But this is cardinal air energy, right? In Libra season, the cardinal air energy where you speak and you make things happen by speaking them into existence. There's a lot of energy here, Scorpio, of manifestation. There's a lot of visionary energy here. So it's time really, Scorpio, to really push the limits of your imagination. And to push the limits of what you think you're capable of. And to sort of just reach out into the ether and grab that energy and pull it down to earth and make whatever you want out of it. Sexy. That Queen of Swords, though, is a warning that you do have to sort of stay light. You do have to keep yourself detached from things that are taking your energy. And that's why I said boundaries to start off with, right? The Queen of Swords is all about boundaries. The Queen of Swords doesn't allow energy to come into her space that doesn't belong there. And it's very reasonable too, right? The Queen of Swords I always describe as a queen who enforces like the laws of humanity, right? It's not like the laws of government or laws of society. She judges what's fair and what's right. So Scorpio, going into this month, it's important to treat the people around you fairly. It's important also, it's okay to demand loyalty. To expect it. Command loyalty, right? We don't demand things, Scorpio, we command it. So lots of real forward motion here, guys. Lots of taking control of your life, taking control of your ambitions. If you're kind of on a path with regards to your career, this is about putting your money to work. That was one of the things I wrote down in my notes coming into this, that this was a month for budgeting. Where budgeting is going to be really important. Where, if the very least, mindfulness about your money and what it's doing for you and what you're doing with it. So if you're really comfortable financially, it's thinking about how now do I create safety nets for me and my family? How do I make investments? How do I, attack debt or pay down my mortgage? If you're kind of struggling, this is a month where you kind of sit down and look at what you have coming in and going out and make it make sense and make it work for you. Scorpio, there's a big energy here of starting fresh in a way. Of with the Fool being brand new. With the Fool of being determined. That's the feeling I have here, Scorpio, is like there's a determination to not be in low rent vibes right now. There's a determination to do more and be better. It's giving you that energy to just say, fuck it, I know what I'm doing. This is that sort of leadership of self. This is being guided by your intuition. So going into this month, guys, it's really important to navigate, to sort of keep checking in with yourself. Like the way you would if you were on a ship and you have a compass to make sure you're on track. Guys, make sure you're on track. Look at what you want. Look at what you have to do to get there. And look at where you are in the process. Because the Fool brings newness. The Fool says going into this month, into the rest of the year, I'm telling you guys, there's a sense of your life is going to be drastically different. Something you've been wanting for a long time. Some sort of security, some sort of emotional like stability, something like that is going to come to being. You're going to get the things you want. If you're single and want a relationship, that's possible right now. If you wanted to, buy a house or make an investment, that's possible right now. The Fool also says to have a little fun with life, right? To not take things too seriously, to have a little perspective on the fact that something that's happening right now for you isn't super important. It's not all consuming. Scorpio, we're getting out of the place where we get all consumed by our feelings and where we let our feelings kind of inform the way we act. We're not being guided by our more basic, primitive emotions. There's like an evolution here. There's like a evolution of consciousness that's happening for Scorpio. Your ruling planet Pluto has been retrograde and now it's going direct. And now, guys, we can get in touch, especially as we go into your season, get in touch with what real power means. And what real power means to you. And as a leader, who you want to be and how you want to be seen. Do you want to be loved and respected, or do you want to be feared? Fear is great, but it only goes so far, right? What's better is to have the love of people. What's better is to have the support of people. See? Scorpio. So going into the rest of the month, we have the Empress. Talk about love. We also have the first quarter moon. And we have Judgment in reverse. So Judgment in reverse is that Pluto retrograde where we're still going to be feeling the shadow a little bit. So we're still sort of unraveling from that energy. The rebirth is on its way, but it's not there yet. I really think that, guys, it's going to really hit us more in November and December, and that when you get into January and the new year in 2020, you're going to feel brand new. It's going to feel as if this whole decade is now like closed. And all the bullshit you went through, all the drama you went through is over. There's stability and love in October. There's a sort of sense of groundedness. There's a sense of being stable. We have Venus, which rules the Empress, going into your sign later this month. We get to find the love that makes us powerful. We get to find the way that Scorpio wants to be a leader, the way that Scorpio wants to take care of their people that they love, the way you guys are fiercely loyal. You now start to invite a sort of loyalty to you. You start to invite into yourself people who look up to you and people who respect you. And maybe even, Scorpio, some people who depend on you. And I want to make a point of saying that too, because it feels like to me here, Scorpio, as much as like authority and leadership sounds sexy and fun, like there are people I think who are kind of looking to you for things, who sort of need things from you. And this could be part of the reason why this full transformation of self doesn't quite go through in this month, because you do have to sort of still be accountable to responsibilities and obligations to other people and other things, especially things from your past or things that, are not part of your future. But Scorpio, the bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords, you see? This is what was underlying all of this. The Nine of Swords is anxiety, the Nine of Swords is worry. And coming at the bottom of the deck, this means that this is a thing of the past. This is what sort of influenced you to get to this place. Scorpio, you might have been having a lot of sort of, let's say, rock bottom moments. You know, with Pluto going retrograde, it kind of goes deeper into our sense of power and into our sense of self. And as it goes direct, we sort of start to take those lessons that we had when we were in this dark place where we felt like all was lost, when we felt like we didn't know what we were doing. We take those lessons and we bring it out into the world, and we start fresh, and we let the past go. We completed a part of our life, and now we live with truth and honesty and fairness and level-handedness. And as we do that, Scorpio, we start to find our true power. This being in reverse also means that the qualities of judgment, the qualities of rebirth are still kind of going on inside of you. The new Scorpio has not quite met the light on the surface yet. It's still sort of like I'm imagining like an actual scorpion having like shedding its shell. I don't know if they do that. I think they do. Shedding its shell and being kind of soft and being underground, right? So it's almost like you shed your shell, Scorpio, but you're still sort of underground. It's still kind of taking time to mature into a place where, you know, you can show it to the world and not be vulnerable. I really feel like, Scorpio, what's happening here is like there's so much strength and there's so much power that's coming into your life. I really feel just like in my body right now, I feel like really energized by what the new year is going to bring. I feel really energized by what the end of this year is going to bring. I think there's just going to be happiness and there's going to be celebration. And when we go into 2020, guys, it's just going to feel like you're brand new. You're going to look at this year, you're going to look at everything that's transpired and say, new phone, who dis? New life, who dis? Scorpio, our outcome for the month is strength. And with strength, we need to not just think about the virtue of being strong, which is obviously a part of this card, but with strength we also look at how to be gentle and strong at the same time. What did I say this whole time, guys? A firm but gentle touch. Look at this card. She's walking with a bear with her hand laid gently on top of his head. And he's peaceful. He's going along with her. He's on the road with her. In other decks, you see a woman holding a lion's mouth open very gently. This is what I've been saying this whole reading to you guys, that what's asked of you now is firm but gentle. To be sensitive to the people around you. To be sensitive to how other people might feel. And that's where you stand in true leadership, right? To rise above the bullshit. To rise above pettiness, to rise above, you know, these lower vibration feelings of just wanting to, you know, attack and cut and you know, cut people off and all these things. Scorpio, I feel like what we're moving into right now is a place where you can be just as strong, but it doesn't have to be angry, it doesn't have to be aggressive, it doesn't have to be forceful. So especially for those of you who are in relationships or say having difficult relations with, say, family or close friends, this is asking you to approach it very sweetly. And frankly, Scorpio, to be the bigger person. If you need to separate yourself from a person, then do it. Then it's necessary, right? But if this is just like a sort of tense moment you're having with someone you care about, put yourself into their position. Like, literally just let things go. Know what's worth it. Pick your battles really closely, Scorpio. And if it's a family member, if it's a loved one, or if it's a very close friend, that's not a battle you want to be picking right now. That's a place where you want to exercise your sensitivity. That's a place where you want to exercise, gentleness, and save that tail for people who really need to be told to fuck off. But those aren't the people you love. Those aren't the people closest to you. Those are the people who deserve communication. Those are the people who deserve balance, and those are people who deserve your best self. Everyone else can go fuck themselves. But you know what I mean? Like, one last bit of advice from the Oracle. Guys, look at what we have. Thinking. Is it going to focus? There we go. Is it going to focus? Thinking. This is coming out of our emotions, Scorpio. This is using your brain. This is using your intellect. This is not operating from a place of reaction. This is not letting your emotions control you. Thinking, an air sign, like this is a great month where we get this great dose of air energy, because we haven't had air energy astrologically for a little while now. And it brings some rationality, it brings some logic. It brings like that take a breath and think before you speak kind of energy. Especially in Libra, which is a little more controlled than, say, Gemini energy or even Aquarius, right? So Scorpio, think, and this is what I said about mindfulness, about your money too, about everything. Be very thoughtful. Be very thoughtful about how you communicate with people. Be very thoughtful about how you spend or invest your money. Be very thoughtful about the battles you pick. Think before you act, Scorpio. Because you're moving into too powerful of a place to just be lashing out and to be acting a fool. People are looking at you, Scorpio, and people are looking up to you. So be your best self. I know you can do it because you guys are the best, and I love you so much. You have a great month, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.